What is art? That's easy. I know what art is, right? This is art, and this is art, and this too. Easy. But is this art? Or how about this? Or... This is getting complicated. Let's see here. Art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Oh cool. That's that then. But wait. Imagination. Art has to showcase creative skill and imagination. So does that mean that this photograph isn't art? It's well composed, it took creative skill, but no one imagined it. Okay, this is easy to fix. Art is the expression or application of human creative skill or imagination. But wait, what's a creative skill? I create to-do lists. I have to be skilled to some degree in a language to do that. Does that mean this checklist is art? Not really. But then, what makes this poem any different? They're both just lines of text, often slightly grammatically incorrect. And poems are art, right? I think what sets art apart from other human creations is that it satisfies our senses. Music is for our ears, paintings and sculptures for our eyes. Art is an experience. But that'd make everything art. There's not much a human being can know or understand without having first experienced it through our senses. And back to poems, we experience that through sight, but it's not exactly a visual wonder. It's more internal. So this senses thing doesn't really work. Okay, wait, I got it. Art is the expression or application of human creative skill or imagination that makes the audience feel something. Hear me out on this. The difference between a checklist and a poem is that it produces feelings. A song can be sad, it can make you feel energized, happy. Films can make you laugh, cry, or smile, or worry. It's all about emotions. Art makes us feel and think in a way that a checklist just can't. But nature can make me relax, make me happy, make me upset. And it's not exactly art, but a photograph of my view of nature is. Because art is human creative skill or imagination. It's the expression or relay of experiences and emotions from one person to another. But does that mean that this photograph, taken by a different primate, is not art? The law says it's not even worthy of copyright. But it feels like art, or maybe it isn't. Perhaps for art to be art, there has to be an intent, a goal. The monkey didn't know he was taking the photo. There was no intent. If I accidentally spill a bucket of paint on my carpet, it's not art. But if I put blobs of paint down with the intent of creating something, then it is. So maybe that's what our definition should be. Art is the purposeful expression or application of human creative skill or imagination that makes the audience feel something. A stick shelter that's just large enough to protect you from the rain isn't art. But when you make something greater than that, even just a larger than necessary stick shelter, then you have made art. You've gone above and beyond to purposefully make yourself or another feel safer, happier, and better. That's what makes architecture art. Because they're more than simple tools. They make us feel something. But then we're back where we started. Anything can make us feel anything. These bowls tell us completely different stories. They express different things and make the audience feel differently. But are they art? Art versus design. This distinction also feels pretty simple on the surface. Art is art, however we decide to define it, and design is art, but with a practical purpose. This is a painting that makes us feel something. This is a design that also makes us feel something, but also allows us to achieve the goal of selling our product. This sculpture is art, this building is design. It has a function. But wait, what about parables? Or all stories for that matter, literature, films, music? The themes within them, they're art, they make us feel something on purpose. But their themes also have the definite goal of changing the way that we act, just like an ad. And we covered this. Design can be art. Something can be both. But I wouldn't call it political film design. I'd just call it art. So I think art, when it has a practical purpose beyond simple expression, has to have a focus on the emotions. It builds sympathy and empathy and understanding for a cause or issue while focusing on an experience. Design focuses on the functional details. It spreads understanding, is useful in practice. An anti-war painting builds sympathy. Army enrollment propaganda gives a call to action. And though it uses human emotions to make its point, it's focused on information. Okay, back to art. I still have a few more questions. Like, is dancing art? Acting? Playing the piano? Sure they are. But it's not exactly a creative skill. It's the expression of art. And a dancer, an actor, a pianist are all artists in their own right. But they're different. We have a word for this. Performance art. A playwright is a creative artist. They made the story. Actors are performing artists. They're the ones expressing the art. And sometimes they can be both. Different actors can create different arts in their varying performances. A director's work is the performance of a script, but they're also creating what will come to form its expression. A choreographer is a creative artist. A dancer, a performing artist. Also, an athlete. So are all athletes artists? Certainly the ones that need to be scored by judges are. But is Messi scoring a goal art? We certainly talk about it like that. The art of football, the art of fishing, the art of jogging. This use of the word art is related to and probably based on our definition of art. But I think it's being used as an entirely different word here. It refers to the craft and the knowledge and skill and experience of the individual working in that craft. If an accountant is called an artist, It's because the word art is being used in relation to class. The elite, skilled, rich class experiences art. Only the best of the best could have art. It speaks to the care and detail of the worker. But it's entirely different than the way we're using the word. Here, something can only be art when it's good. Art, in this context, is synonymous with quality. But for us here, art is not a metaphor, a descriptive noun. It's a thing in its own right. Bad art is still art. You can't say something isn't art, no matter how much you don't like it. Art is subjective. For there to be art at all, there has to be bad art. Things don't live in a vacuum. They can't exist without their opposites, otherwise they wouldn't exist at all. You wouldn't know it was daytime if night never came, because
when everyone's super, no one will be.
Art too exists on a spectrum. This macaroni crayon scribble piece of garbage is just as much art as Michelangelo's David. Troll 2 is no less a movie than Citizen Kane, and therefore is no less a piece of art. So when you're sitting on your break drawing stick figure comic strips, you're just as much of an artist as Da Vinci. Just not as good. A whole lot worse, actually. But again, that's subjective. And it's near impossible to compare two paintings and say which one is better. Is Mass Effect better than Mario Galaxy? You can't really say. Sure, they're the same medium, but they're inherently different. They have their own entirely different merits. So how do you know when art is good then? I think JWG's solution suits us best here. He has 3 questions to use when examining art, and they actually apply to almost any human endeavor. What was the goal? Did they achieve it? And was it worth it? Instead of comparing the piece to every single other piece that came before it, like most rating systems do, Ghost questions force us to examine the art for what it really is, relative to only itself. You may not think that Jackson Pollock's work took anywhere near the amount of skill as Van Gogh's work, but that doesn't matter. They're different. What was the goal? To represent the world and experiences without the use of physical forms. Did they achieve it? Yes. Was it worth it? Yeah. It took abstracting the real into art to another playing field. Did something new. When 2001: A Space Odyssey was released, it was largely laughed at by critics. It was a horrible narrative film. It didn't meet standards, and compared to other great films, was a total failure. But using Go's 3 questions, what was the goal?
He kept saying, I want to change the form. I want to make a movie that changes the form.
Did they achieve it? For most moviegoers and aspiring, marveling filmmakers, yes. It changed the game. For Kubrick himself,
and I said, well, didn't you do that with 2001? He said, just a little bit, but not enough. I really want to change the form.
Was it worth it? Yes. The versatility of Go's questions are near endless, and it almost makes me reconsider this whole process of defining art. Does the definition really matter when we can instead focus on the value and merit of incredible human works, whether or not they're art? I'm not sure. But I'll leave you with one final question. Is this video art?